Hey friends, this is Reverend Jerry, the People's Priest, aka Father Jerry, and I just wanted to come on and offer a reflection with you on grieving, the change of seasons, and a call to forgiveness, particularly forgiveness of the self. First off, we have begun the season of fall, also known as the season of autumn. This is a time in the cycle of creation when we begin to recognize the gift and the challenge of those things that fall away, the letting go, the abandoning, the releasing, the loosening up. We start to notice that the leaves on trees and plants start to wither away and crumble and become these crunchy browns and yellows and oranges and all that kinds of stuff. There's different things in the air that create different sensory sensations. A friend of mine was talking about their allergies and saying that their skin was literally too alive. And that's how they described it, being too alive. And I thought that was a really interesting way of describing allergies, a very um, more pleasant way of rebranding the seasonal irritation that we call allergies. And I think for some of us too, this season of fall or autumn provokes us. It disturbs us. It makes us begin to think about what is dying away, who is dying away, what dreams are we letting go of, and we hold that shifting very, very anxiously. We want to hold on to it to keep it from happening, and we begin to place judgments upon it that I'm not ready. This is rude. This is harsh. This is unexpected. And reality is, or in reality, the fact of the matter is that we make those judgments not because we're bad people, but because that's our human nature to want to control those things that we feel we have the right to control. But the reality is, seasons of creation change whether or not we control them or have the ability to control them or not. Fall comes around, spring, winter, summer, and then it repeats over and over again. And that is the way the Creator designed our life to be. So practicing non-judgment of the falling away, of the loosening up, of the allergies being too alive is a good practice as we continue to go into the season of fall because it allows us to say, okay, this is, it will be, and it will shift into something else and something else. Instead of labeling it as inconvenient, unwanted, annoying, irritating, why don't we just withhold the judgment and instead just allow ourselves to go into, grow with the flow and go with the flow, as you have heard me say it before. And particularly, I think what makes, besides the judgment element, but what makes fall a particularly difficult time for some people is this is the time when we begin to reflect on the lives that have transitioned out of the human plane into the spirit plane. And whether you want to call that heaven or nirvana or whatever it is that you want to label that. Um, the fact of the matter is, the physical relationships that we have with certain people is no longer the same. They have left this realm. We have a relationship still with them, but it's not physical, it's not sensory. In fact, it is now, in some respect, an extrasensory perspective or relationship or way of being with each other, excuse me. And that's a good thing, but it's a challenging thing. And also being a gift, it's a gift and a challenge. And I think what often provokes or what comes out of that gift and that challenge is a certain level of grief. we begin to grieve in the season of fall. We grieve the loss of our loved ones. We grieve the loss of the dreams that we had for a certain person, for ourselves, um, or our relationship with that other person. Relationships sometimes wither away, either by strain or by permission. And we are forced to sit with this discomfort, this dis-ease with that liminal space where what was, what is, and what will be, or what could be. And for a lot of us, that's very provocative. That's very disturbing. That's very unsettling. And we would choose not to be in that space if we could. So grief becomes very common in this time, and many people become seasonally depressed, very anxious, somehow just not settled, and never can feel like they can grasp some sense of stability. And so I want to encourage you to take upon yourself this practice of seeing this season of fall as a call to forgiveness. Fall calls for forgiveness. And particularly, I encourage you to start praying, I forgive me. I forgive me. I forgive me for wanting to control the situation. I forgive me for holding on to something that has already said goodbye. I forgive me for holding on to someone who's already said goodbye. I forgive me for saying goodbye even though I really didn't mean it. Or I forgive me for still feeling shame because of what I've done, what I've said, where I've been, where I'm not. I forgive me for being irritated with myself because I'm not where I want to be or where I think I should be. All of these practices, maybe even make a list of things that you forgive yourself for, allow us to be in a space of looseness, of lightness, where we can relax into the process of grief, which is a big journey. It is a big emotion for us to hold. And our spirit is very strong and very robust, but our spirit still has limits to it, and our bodies still have limits to it. So choosing to hold that big emotion very tenderly and gently, and allowing yourself to say, I'm putting this down for now. This is a part in the journey where I don't need to carry this. And that's what forgiveness does. Forgiveness looses us up to say, I have permission to put this down for now. I have permission to release myself from feeling like I need to place judgment upon this process or this experience. Forgiveness, especially for yourself, says, I want to be light. I don't want to be heavy. And sometimes too, when I know I feel like I'm grieving something, especially if it's a long grief or a grief that's unfamiliar, I sometimes pray to Creator and I say, let this move at a pace that I can handle. Intensity is not, uh, what's the word? Intensity is not something to be feared. Intensity is not something to shy away from either, but rather it is something that you can say, this does not need to be this level of intense. I can bring this down a few notches. So move at the pace that I can handle. And you begin to cultivate that rhythm by saying, I forgive me. I forgive me. I release judgments from this experience, from this time of year. I release the need to control. I release the need to attach my worth, my self-worth to some arbitrary outcome that other people have determined for me that is not based upon my reality. I forgive me. Paul calls us to forgive. And in your grieving, you help to remedy your grief with forgiveness of yourself and ultimately of others. And in so doing, you begin to learn that you can move at a pace that is good for you, that you can handle. And that's a beautiful gift. It's not easy. And in fact, I'm going to do a few series of videos on this topic. So take a moment today, this week, this month, throughout this season of fall, to remember to forgive yourself. Make a list of things that you need to forgive yourself for. Make that your affirmation. I forgive me for, and then insert what it is. And allow yourself to move at a pace that you can handle. Because as always, life is short and we do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who journey with us, to be swift to love, make haste to be kind. And wherever you are, remember that fall calls us to forgive ourselves and other people, and that we can move at the pace that we can handle. I send you all my love and my blessings wherever you are. And I hope that you like, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend who might be grieving or who might need this word. And stay tuned for further videos on this topic and other practical spirituality lessons and teachings. Talk to you later. Bye.